The African textile kitenge, as known in East Africa, and Ankara, as known in West Africa, was originally produced in Indonesia. It is now one of the most sought after fabrics in the world. Today, I will be talking to someone who is in the business of making comfortable, easy to wear fabrics and clothes for women. Find out what we have in store, especially when it has to do with talking business. I am Joe Hansen, and welcome to the program Zero to Launch. Our guest is Olamide Agunloye, creator, CEO of Iconola, a respected ready-to-wear stylish brand for women with years of consistency in African print designs. Iconola provides African print that are very stylish, comfortable, and in high demand, especially from the local and international market. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
All right, so how did you start off with Iconola? How did you get into the fashion business?
Well, I studied fashion. Let me say that at first. But I studied it in a very intellectual way. It's a ready-to-wear industry. And then I went to do an internship in London for bridal wear. So I taught myself how to sew. And then I moved to Nigeria. And then with 5K that a customer gave me, I started my business. I think I'm just so invested in it. So every dime I have, if it's not going to my kids, it's going to Iconola.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
You said 5K. How long was this? And how long have you been in business too?
I've been in business since 2003. Yes, but this 5K story is from 2006, very early, about maybe January or so. And it was, oh, I think I'd made a talk for myself or something like that. She was like, oh, can you replicate it? And I said, no problem. And with that 5K came another 10K, came another 15K. So yeah, 2006 was when I fully launched in Nigeria.
So how long have you been in the business from 2006 till now? And what has been the look of your business? Did you start with prints, or you were doing other types of attire and outfits before you now picked prints and said, this is what I'm going to focus on?
So in 2003, when we started with mostly bridal wear, bridesmaids and wedding dresses. And I launched a fashion show in 2006. And as soon as we launched the fashion show, a lot of people kept bringing their Ankara to copy the styles. And because that's my education, ready-to-wear industry, I just thought, why not start mass producing these clothes? Obviously, there is that hiccup with Nigerians where they don't want to wear what the other person is wearing. But then on the flip side, they were asking for what the other person was wearing. So I just thought, let me just do this. It was hard in the beginning, like really hard, trying to make sure two people buy the same style. But with time, it kind of grew on people. So yeah, we're the first ready-to-wear fashion brand in Nigeria.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Ready to wear, we know, no doubt everybody likes ready to wear because you just come pick it up, as we've seen a few customers do, and then they're good to go.
Yeah.
But along the line, while you were into this business, did you get any form of discouragement? Were you told, oh, you know what, you're doing well, I think you should go back to school or do something like that?
I heard that, I think, maybe the first year, really before the launch. I looked really young. So that was the first thing. A lot of people just kept saying, go back to school. You're young, go and get your master's. And I'm thinking, master's doing what? You know, so I didn't get that part. And then there was the discouragement of nobody's going to want the clothes. But I've been so lucky. People want the clothes. So I think it was that persistence to prove people wrong. And I'm very hard-headed. So I think that once you tell me once not to do something and I don't listen, you stop saying it. So I'm that person. Yeah.
Interesting. What are the things you look at while you are creating an outfit? Because one of the things that we've spotted in your outfits is the fact that the finishing is amazing.
Yeah.
The texture. Where do you get your fabrics from as well? And what do you look forward to?
Local vendors, really. We try and support the economy as best as we can. In terms of finishing, it comes from my bridal
Knowledge and
tailoring
experience.
knowledge and experience. It's the clothes have to look as beautiful on the inside as they look on the outside. So just translating that, the fit, the cut is all bridal. That's one of the things that we have an edge over maybe other brands as well. But in terms of creative, how do I put it, inspiration, it's everywhere. So as long as I like it and I feel like it's something other people would like, no, as long as I like it, I think other people end up liking it.
That's interesting. All right, let's talk about your clients. So your clients, are they only from this part of Africa, West Africa, or do they come from East Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, or even outside of Africa?
Well, mainly West Africa, but everywhere that the clothes have been, we've gotten good feedback. So my friends who live in South Africa always end up buying for their friends. From Ghana, from Kenya. Also, so I have retailers as far as Taiwan. So we're not the traditional, my mother's clothes. It's not Iran buba, which is blouse and wrapper. It's not the boo-boo. It's pieces like I'm wearing, very funky styles, but the edges that we're using the African prints. And like I said before, we didn't start even with those prints. We started using them because there was a demand for it.
African textile that is known as kitenge in East Africa and Ankara in West Africa was first produced in Indonesia. The method of producing African print fabric is called batik, for where designs are printed onto the cloth using wax before using dye. Today, these African fabrics are most sought after across the world. African fabric is stunning, elegant, and can be worn for any special occasions. The demand for these prints are high. Where does Iconola get her style ideas from for every collection?
If the print is really busy, it can be a busy style. So, there are different rules to like the conjuring of the style. And because I did a lot of like textile sciences from school, there's a lot of testing to make sure that the fabrics don't run, how it falls, because the different African vendors that make the prints do different textures of Ankara as well. So just to make sure that the ones that we use for pants are maybe different from the ones that we use for tops and stuff like that. And just make sure that the clothes are cut in a way that it flows. It has to flow. Yeah, that's the signature. If you see something that flares in Iconola, it's cut a lot differently from other brands as well. Yeah.
You just mentioned other brands. How are you able to face competition? Most businesses that start up in their first to third year, they start paying too much attention to competition, and at times it affects the way they leverage on their brands as well. So how are you able to make sure that you keep competition at its place and still thrive and grow as well?
Well, I think we're lucky for two things. One, I mind my business a lot. And I mean that in the entirety. I mind my Iconola business and I'm so on the business. But in terms of my personality as well, I'm not really looking out there for what anybody else is doing. The other advantage is that we were the first. So, and I always tell people that I'm actually quite creative. I can pat myself on the shoulder for that. So I have boxes of designs that I haven't even used. So I always feel like if you're going to copy, then we've left those styles behind. We're going to always move on to the next and move on to the next and putting our best into the clothes, and hopefully that translates to our customers as well.
Coming up next.
Educate yourself, know what the business is about, learn what your own personal strengths are, and be as persistent as you can be.
This is Africa. I bet you've heard a lot about it, but this is what you need to know. It's the home of the youngest and fastest growing population in the world. This, my friend, is opportunity right here. This is the future, and everyone wants Africa's attention. You need a voice that's African, young, conversational, a platform with the potential to reach millions of people across the continent. Imagine all the people you could be talking to on News Central TV. Well, don't just think about it. Contact us for sponsorship and advert bookings. Put your brand where Africa is watching. It's News Central TV.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here, News Central TV, the stories that put Africa first.
Starting a clothing company, be it unisex or just male, female, takes more than just creativity. There are key steps to consider before venturing into the market. Our guest, with over 19 years and counting, sheds light on how this can be done.
It's not easy. It's not as easy as when we started, when I felt like you could be the spotlight of the industry. Now there's like tons of brands in. It's easy to just fade into the background. But as long as you keep putting your best foot forward, somebody is going to notice you out there and push you out.
That's interesting and quite encouraging.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when you started, you had this space that wasn't as big as this space that you are in now.
Yeah.
That shows that you've grown over time,
Yes.
just like you mentioned, with persistence. But this growth, what does this impact on you as you look forward to the future for Iconola?
Well, growing is something I feel like is the most natural thing to happen to a human being. You can't give birth to a child and the child be stunted. You have to grow. So I started with 5K in my living room, then I moved to Abuja, I started in my dad's garage, and I just have this uncontrollable urge to grow. And I have a vision in my head of where Iconola can go, and I'm trying to prove to myself that it's possible. And without taking account of everything that's going on, or the economy, or like you said, what customers or friends are saying, it's just kind of like being true to that vision that I can see within my space. If I'm going to say that it's easy, I would be lying. It's not easy. It's taken way longer than I imagined that it would take. I mean, I used to brag when I was 25 years old, in the next 5 years, in the next 5 years. But it's been like 15 years and I'm not there yet. But yeah, it's just that persistence, keep going and put in everything that you can put in. You know, it's going to try you. It's going to try your faith. It's going to try your talents. You know, there's sometimes, including maybe last week, when I thought, I don't think I want to do this business again. But then I've come so far. I can't turn back now. Yeah, I think that's one of the things, is seeing how far we've come over the years and knowing that we're closer to the end, well, to the goals, than when we started out.
That's interesting. I mean, that's good to know. Let's talk about staff strength.
Yeah.
How you're able to manage the running of the entire business. Do you say, okay, we have someone who's doing accounting, that's fine, you handle that. So or do you actually micromanage? Because most businesses, you need to micromanage at some point.
Well, most times we have a process, but most times I have to come in and delegate or redelegate or check what everybody is doing. And I think that's the makings of a good business. You can't leave it to other people to run, especially because then I'll be kind of like jobless and idle. But yes, we have a good process where we've been able to compartmentalize different positions. Unlike when we started, where 1 or 2 people was wearing 5 hats or 15 hats. But now, you know, a tailor is a tailor, a cutter is a cutter, you know, the accountant is the accountant. So, but everybody reports, and I'm petty. People report to me daily. Yeah, so I check all those things.
I mean, but that could be the reason why the business is growing, because you need to be involved and ensure that nothing is leaving the confinement of your business.
Yeah, I
ethics.
mean, if you want to be successful, you look at successful people. And I've looked at a lot of people that are in similar businesses, fashion, music industry, real estate, and they're very involved. You know, you look at people like even Donald Trump. before he became president, he was going to sites. You know, you look at people like Oprah. Oprah is not in front of the microphone. There's no Oprah show.
Sure.
So you have to be there doing the work. If you're not doing the work doesn't get done. I'm a member of the team, even though I'm the CEO, but I'm a huge factor.
Much more like a player coach.
Yeah, yeah. I have my own role. I'm a pattern maker in the business. So I don't see a position where I'm not playing my role. I mean, my role is vital. If I'm missing, the business is going to crash. Yes.
All right. So finally, what are your plans for expanding across Africa? Are you looking at, because what you're doing, I mean, we know the Kitenge from the East Africa, as it's called. Of course, we have our very own here from West Africa.
Yeah.
Are you looking at expanding to other African countries, probably having your outlets here and there?
Oh yeah, it's actually a very, very fantastic question, because we launched the franchise program a while ago, but it's finally catching on. So yes, we have locations within Nigeria and outside Nigeria that we would like people to franchise the stores. Currently we have Enugu, we have 2 stores in Lagos, and we're about to sign one in the UK as well, and then somebody in Abuja. So hopefully we're looking at people like people that are interested from Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, US, like anywhere that the clothes are appealing, really. They're wearable and modern clothing, you know, and as we get to expand the brand, we're also trying to expand the products within the brand.
Interesting. It's been a great sport talking to you.
Thank you.
I must tell you this. And we look forward to hear so many beautiful stories coming from Iconola as well.
Amen.
But first, let's check out some of your wares and your brands as well.
Okay.
We are not contravening the ink by being on this.
In today's world of mass media and conveniently glossed over misinformation, if you don't ask a Cameroonian her name, you can't tell her story. When you watch people without homes deported on the news, they are called migrants because that sounds reasonable. It is even harder to deconstruct all the terrifying stories that we hear about Africa. A monumental name change is taking place, and that has completely transformed the way news will be told on the African continent. It is our Afro-optimist narrative that needs to be heard, a story that needs to be told. For years, we tried to break the dark continent barrier. While international media bask in wide media coverage, they lag behind in having a perfect record of matters of diversity on the African continent.
Amandla.
Iconola has styled some of the biggest names in the corporate, entertainment and business world. Her ready-to-wear outfits and designs are truly amazing. From her personal experience, finding the perfect dress without knowing where to get it is a long-gone myth. Her consistency in creating tailor-made outfits for the stylish lady is a goal that has produced a hub of fashion. We can rightly say that Iconola is zero to launch certified.
Hi, my name is Olamide Agunloye. I'm CEO and Creative Director of Iconola. I started from zero to launch.